Hi, and welcome back to the channel. If you don't know me, I'm Jex. I am an artist and just someone who likes to be on the internet. This is what I would like to be the first installment of book club, and let's get started. Hi, and welcome to the channel. I don't know what I've already said or what I've done. For this one, I know I'm talking about books, so I'm just gonna kind of check in with you while I work on this Christmas present blanket, and then just add in books in between, and I will check in every couple of stops. So far, this is as far as I've gotten. It covers about the first part of my thigh, and that's it. So I will see you guys again after a little bit, and we'll see how far I get today. This year I had the goal to read 100 books. I got to 26, and while there are still a few more weeks left there are 2 weeks left till Christmas, with I think about another week after that until New Year's. I think it'd be better to just go ahead and do the list for these books today, or well, today, but in this video, because I'm not quite sure if I am going to have another one before the new year comes in. Hi. So the first book we're going to talk about is In Defense of Witches by Mona Chalais. I still don't know if I'm saying her name right, because I do remember when I read the first book by her that I had kind of a little bit of trouble pronouncing her name. But anyway, I thought this was a good book. It talked about like how strong women are kind of like a scapegoat in most modern societies when things are like changing over. So like in the introduction of Christianity, people coming over from different places and trying to like integrate and do stuff. This book was the second book that I read by her. And while I liked the Reinventing Love, which just shows how the patriarchy ruins like romantic relationships, I like that one a lot better. I do like this book, and I would read it again, because sometimes I read books and I feel like I'm not as mature as I should be to read them, and so I kind of want to reread them. But these two books did start my like I already wanted to read more nonfiction books, and so then I just kind of added these in and was like determined to finish them. So it would go in my personal library whenever I get one. But I do think it will require like a reread and then a readjustment. But I do think that they're interesting to have as like a topic in general. So that is the first book. I don't have one of those Esther Trite things, and my computer acts like it's gonna die anytime that I do like two things at once. So if I had to put it on a tier, I'd say I'd give this B tier, because I kind of like lost interest somewhere between it. But again, I think that's more of a maturity thing and a learning to like be actually interested in nonfiction versus the book not actually being good. Because like I said, I loved Reinventing Love, and I'd give that an A. So take that as you will. Huh. Okay, so the second book we're talking about is Are You Listening by Tillie Walden. As you can see at the very top of this list, it's that this book made me cry, and it did a couple of times actually. Um, it's a very simple book, or it's simple in that the plot line is simple. You have these two characters who are going on a road trip of sorts, and then they just so happen to meet at a random point and then decide to continue their trip together. It is not like any other story with that similar plot line. The story is beautiful, the graphics are beautiful. It's it's one of the thicker graphic novels that I've read, and I think it wasn't like super thick, but it was one of the first times that I realized like graphic novels could be more than just like a couple of pages or like super simple. And then that kind of like continued in on my graphic novels, helping me continue to read throughout the year. Um, let's see. It is a book that anytime I think about it, I get sad, I cry a little bit. I think about like how beautiful the artwork is. There's also a random cat in it who ends up being a really cool like drive point of the book, and I think that that's super cool. So it's going on my shelf because it's really cool. Camera is on. Yeah, I just wasn't sure if my mic was on actually. Um, but also it is one of the books that gets an S tier for me. Some of the books that I've added a list. Some of the books that go in A tier instead of S tier, I think I put them there because they have like a shock factor, or they have like the wow factor of it. Like I remember certain aspects of the book versus actually remembering the book. And for me, this one, I remember the book and I remember the shock factor, but the shock is just how beautiful it was and how much I enjoyed it. So that is all for this one, and then we will move on to book 3. Okay. Book 3 is M is for Monster by I forgot the author, but it's by Talila Dutton. Um, it's kind of a Frankenstein retelling. As you can see, I put a question mark there because it gives very Frankenstein retelling, but that isn't the like goal of the book. The book also touches on grief, sisterhood, real kooky science, which is also super fun and interesting. It also was a really cool way to ask what it means to be human and how that's perceived. During the book, you also talk about like expectations from others, expectations from yourself, what to do when those are like clashing. I thought it was a really cool book. I put it in A. I put it in B tier in my notes, but I put it in A tier on the board because after reading my notes, I was like, I do kind of want to reread it. It seems cool, but at the same time, I'm also like, I remember the story. I like it, but I do remember that in my notes, I'm like, it doesn't pull the same emotions and thoughts and feelings from me in like this rethink after I read the book the way that the other ones did. So I don't know. So I put it in A tier, but like I'm thinking of it in like the ones where it's like you can slide it. So that might change. But after that, we can move on to, but actually, we're going to take a look and check in on the current project that I'm working on while recording this. So I will insert that clip here. Hello and welcome back for this check-in. We are about, it's starting to take shape. It's getting pretty nice. This is one of the few times where it's like I'm using myself as a measurement because she is like quite a bit smaller than me. So I know if it can wrap around me, it'll wrap around her perfect and be like kind of perfect for her. I'm also gonna steam it. Something else I feel like I should mention. This is the Lions brand Pound of Love yarn. I kind of already threw the tag away because it didn't have a pattern in it, so I don't remember what color it is. I do have to take a stop at the craft store, so if they have it, is still in there, I can try and take a look and see to put it somewhere on the video. But yeah, my wrist hurts and I have to go pick up my brother, so this may or may not be it for today, but I'll probably get a bit more done because I'm making surprisingly good progress. And that's it. Hello and welcome back. So book 4, we have Ash's Cabin, and this book, like the previous book, was just beautiful. Like beautiful graphics, beautiful story, beautiful plot line. It follows Ash, who is 16, and it's just the whole thing of like, ain't nobody listening to me because I'm a kid, and then it kind of moves into just the whole thing of ain't nobody listening. And in this one, this is not like your typical runaway story or something bad happens, or they run away, something bad happens, it's fixed. No, this one is cool because you watch the mentality change, you watch the preparation, you watch how it goes, and how like when something did go bad, they're like, I'll fix this, and then I'm going back to my own thing and be good. And then it's like it's not till the end where there's a resolution. Just like in the other books, I picked like either a fun fact or like my favorite quote from the book. And in this one, my favorite quote actually came at the end of the book where they're talking to their cousin and they're like, of everybody here, you're the only one not lying to yourself. And I was like, that's so freaking cool. So I wrote that at the top of the board. Honestly, it gets S tier from that quote alone, and will probably always get S tier just from that, for me personally, but also because like I like the story, I like the graphics, and I like how it was told and how it just like wrapped everything up. It was not a neat ending, but a real ending, and I think that's what was like so much more important during the time that I read it. So yeah, so S tier, and it goes on the shelf in my future library. So, moving on. Okay, so for book 4, it's the ranking may be a bit controversial to those of you who read it and to the librarian who suggested it to me. I'm gonna go ahead and say that I put it in A tier instead of S tier, and it's not because I didn't like it. Like earlier when I said that sometimes I remember the shock value of a book versus the actual book, it's kind of how I feel about this book. So in Slewfoot, we follow Abatha, who's been sold off into a marriage by her father from England to pay for his drinking debts after her mom dies. Now, of course, right, Witch Trials Lady Hate is almost essentially how you could sum up this book, but then you also have the fact that payback is a bitch, and that if you live in the South and you know what mosquito, and you know the wrath that mosquitoes have, you understand why next to this it says that they haunt my dreams a bit, because to get part of her revenge, she sent mosquitoes on someone. And amazing, great, love the revenge, but that isn't the point of the book. And the fact that that's kind of the most thing that I remember kind of knocks it down a rating. But all in all, I do think it's a great read. I do think that whenever you think of like Witch Trials book, you never really get to see the payback, the whole thing of like it's different. You kind of see more of the struggle, the sadness, the deaths, and you get that in this. But what I also liked about this one is that it also had religion as a spectacle and something that is meant to test you versus religion as something that you just kind of feel, something that you understand, know you have to be a good person, know you should be good to others, and you go for it about your life instead of always trying to prove that you're following the rules. It's definitely going on my future shelf, but unfortunately it's not gonna stay at the very top of my list like I thought it would, which is probably not what I would have said the like moments after I finished reading it, but it is what I'm saying here upon reflection. Still a great book, just beware of the nightmares that it will give you, but it's also super cool. So, moving on. Okay, for book 4, I don't really know where to put it because I liked it and it was a really cute story, but it's kind of more of like the shock value of the description is what I remember. But then I also remember it being so cute and making me cry and being like such a sweet story that honestly I would read again and keep. So it's one of those that like definitely goes on my bookshelf and is definitely in like a top 10 if I have to rank it, but I don't really know where to put it. So for that, I actually put it as one of my first B tier ones, but I am not really sure. It follows Jackie, who helps her aunt out in this nursing facility. She is struggling with her parents' deportation, and she's just trying to like keep her life together during her senior year. But then her aunt tells her that like they won't be able to afford her like these lifetime passes she has to the local amusement park. And so to like fix that or come up with a plan, she is essentially planning to take all of the senior citizens at the nursing home to the park. And I feel like you can get the gist because if I tell you the rest of the description, that kind of spoils the plot of the book. But that is kind of it. So that is kind of why I'm like, oh, shock, and it was really funny and it's good, but I don't really know where it goes for the ranking in general. So yeah, we're gonna do a last check-in for the project, and that. So we have gone through 6 books this time. I know I did say 26, and I did read 26 books, but I think that might be a bit much to cover in like one whole video. But I think I've decided that for this video, I'm going to do about 6 books for each one and go from there. I don't know if I'll be working on the same project with like each one, but I do think that will be a little bit easier to go through and to get through each books, and it will allow me to actually like script out and make them the way that I think they should be. So we've left off with 6 books. We have 2, 4, 5. I can't remember what I decided that the very first book should be. So we have 5 on the tally list with 2 in S tier, 2 in A tier, and 1 in B tier. So far, we have none on at the bottom 2, and I think that that's pretty good. So see you all next time. The next video will probably come out somewhere like on the week of Christmas. So Merry Christmas as well if you don't see me before then. And happy holidays. And see you guys later. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And that is all. Bye.